telling NBC Sports he's disappointed that his little rift with the Packers, maybe not so little, has gone public. Just how disappointed is he? Well, he reportedly wants GM Brian Gutekunst fired. Remember, Gutekunst drafted Rodgers' replacement Jordan Love just last year. Well, the GM was asked about it. Take a listen to this.
Aaron hasn't said anything like that to me, and certainly hasn't said anything publicly. So I think it's a little unfair to kind of, put that on him. But, listen, you certainly don't like to hear those things, but at the same time, it's kind of part of the gig in the National Football League. So, but no, nothing's been communicated directly to me.
That is how you verbally sidestep. We got Packers Super Bowl champ Greg Jennings with us now, but Nick, I'm going to start with you. I'm curious to know what your reaction was to this report.
Well, a lot. Listen, it's certainly not always part of the gig that the best player in the history of your franchise wants you fired. That's not the way, life is, for example, for Brett Veach in Kansas City. He's like, it's part of the job. It's, Mahomes just wants me canned. But when you attempt to execute a palace coup and it goes awry, sometimes you lose your job. Sometimes it works out. Napoleon, it worked out great for him, executed a coup and became Napoleon Bonaparte. Good for him. For Gutekunst, that isn't going that way. It just isn't going that way. He tried to oust Aaron Rodgers by trading up to draft Aaron Rodgers' replacement. And Aaron Rodgers responded to that by having arguably his greatest season ever. And now, Aaron Rodgers, I would say if you're a Packer fan, this is the first good news you've had in quite some time. Because Aaron Rodgers is offering you a super easy solution. Fire him. Fire him and I'll be happy. Now, you can say that's unfair, that's mean, but if we are being honest, Brian Gutekunst was attempting to fire Aaron Rodgers by trading up to draft his replacement with a first-round pick.
Right.
And Aaron Rodgers said, okay, you had a bit of power. If I play well enough, I can wrest it all away from you. And that's what he did. And so this is very, very simple for the Green Bay Packers organization. On one hand, you have someone who is literally irreplaceable and is one of the two best people in the world at what they do. And on the other hand, you have, with respect, just a guy. Brian Gutekunst in his industry is just a guy. And so you didn't want it to come to this, but if it has, then you choose option A over option B 100 times out of 100, Greg.
I agree. You said something about Aaron Rodgers being irreplaceable. He is, in fact, irreplaceable in this moment of where the Packers live and stand with their quarterback situation. He's flat out irreplaceable because of what he's been able to do the past season, coming off the MVP season, what he's been able to do with the personnel that you provided him with. But this reminds me of the Netflix series Queen's Gambit, where Beth Harmon, the character, played. Like when she was playing, everybody understands the game of chess, and you got to be a thinker in chess. You got to kind of know what your opponent's going to do, anticipate moves, already have in your mind what you think they're going to do so you have a counter. Aaron Rodgers played a move on the chessboard that the Packers had no idea he would be even willing or consider playing. And the Packers right now are getting up from the table like Beth Harmon did, and when she was thrown off, going to the bathroom, trying to scramble. And when you listen to Brian Gutekunst, and he's talking about this is a part of the gig. No, it is not. Brandon, I don't know another player that has said, hey, you fired the GM and I'm in, I'll stay. I don't know any other player that has thrown that type of weight around and a player that has the ability to. And Aaron Rodgers, he has afforded himself the opportunity and the ability to do that because of how he has played, and strategically he understands what the Packers do not have, and that is control. He has all the cards in his hand. He knows if he's out, this team is not going to be successful, period.
Yeah, man. Listen, but why can't they get along? Call your boys, Greg. They need a mediator. You need to fly out there and help them out. 2018, Brian Gutekunst. Let's look at his classes. 2018 was solid. It wasn't bad. 2019, it was really strong, very strong. Last year, I mean, it was bad, okay? But overall, this team is in a good place. So it's really the relationship between Aaron Rodgers and the general manager. They need to figure it out, because the general manager and the quarterback really shouldn't be doing much talking outside of negotiations. That's it. That's the only thing they should be talking about. Correct. We see it all the time on the field. Every once in a while, the general manager comes down out of his office and he'll watch a couple periods and go back. There's a few general managers that's out there every single day, but for the most part, the players don't interact with the general manager. If you look at it in the grand scheme of things, he's not doing a terrible job. Now, him trying to be a general manager, what he needs to understand right now in this season, in this part of this phase, is that this is not a negotiation. It's a hostile takeover. That's what it is. Aaron Rodgers says, I want X, Y, and Z. You give Aaron Rodgers X, Y, and Z, and 1, 2, 3. You give him more. That's what you do. And that's what he's not realizing, and that's why it's going left. Like, he'll forgive you. You went out there and you got Jordan, you got Love. Fine, great. I'm gonna rub it in your face every chance I get, Wilds. But moving forward, you need to respect my position and you need to understand the leverage that I have. And he's not doing that, and that's why it's getting worse.
Okay. I don't think it's a hostile takeover. I think it is a silly wish list, like you would see, you would sit on Santa's lap and give. Because here's what, and Nick, tell me I'm wrong here, but this is my general overview of what I've heard Aaron Rodgers may or may not want. And we still don't know, because he talked to Mike Tirico off camera at the Kentucky Derby, and he's mad about the reports getting out. But of course, he wouldn't tell us what the truth was, because he wanted to stay off camera. So that being said, here we go. He wants a contract extension. He wants to be traded to the Raiders. Yes. He wants to be traded to the Broncos. He wants the GM to be fired. He might want to retire. He might want to host Jeopardy. I think that's everything. I would prefer, Nick, if Aaron Rodgers just came out, and again, I'm advocating to go on your podcast, or, directly we'll do a little interview one-on-one with Nick Wright, Aaron Rodgers, sit down, and just say exactly what you want. Because these things are in conflict with each other, and they don't make any sense.
But
he wants to be a Packer for life. He has said that the moment they drafted Jordan Love, that he was mad about that. And ever since they drafted Jordan Love, that has been put into question. So he responded by having an MVP caliber season. They responded to that by not giving him a new contract, by not trading Jordan Love. So now it is a you or me situation. And is this the best way to handle things? Maybe, maybe not. But guys, this is big boy business. And at some point, somebody's going to say, fire that guy or I quit. And then you have to make a decision. Who's more important? This is not a decision. This is not Kobe Shaq. This is Kobe Rick Fox at best. It might be Kobe Slava Medvedenko. You just go with Kobe. You go with Rodgers. And Gutekunst, like I don't think he should be looked at here. Go ahead, Jenna.
No, let me just jump in and say, we had this discussion. Me and you, Nick, remember a couple years ago when it was Aaron Rodgers against Mike McCarthy. Now, it didn't get it this far, but obviously it came to a head, and Mike McCarthy was sent packing, and Aaron Rodgers was still there. There was the Alex Van Pelt